So as said before, what we're going to do now is adding a validator into the page to make sure that people aren't allowed to type in silly values. For example, as we saw Gordon Brown instead of an integer. So what we can do is, if you look in your toolbar, under the heading validation, you've got a set of things you can use to validate a page. There is the range validator, field validator, and the one we're going to use is the range validator, because we're going to make sure that the user is going to set a value between 0 and 100. To make it a part of your page, you could actually go into the source, as the tutorial does, and type in a kind of range validator anywhere really. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag in the range validator onto the screen. Okay, so I'm going to drag it here. Okay, it's going to be a slightly different position to the one in your tutorial notes, but they all do exactly the same thing anyway. So I put my range validator on the page. Okay, and it's given automatically a name, range validator 1, which is what we've got from the tutorial anyway. And it's got a few kind of values basically. So we need to set the control we're going to validate. Okay, and we know which control we're going to validate. It's going to be the score. It's going to be the text box. Okay, and we want to make sure that it is going to only do integers. So let's kind of click on there, integer. Okay, type equals integer. So it's only allow integers, and the value is going to be maximum value we're going to set as being 100, and the minimum value we're going to be set as being 0. Okay, and we're going to put in the error message, something like the value must be between 0 and 100. Okay, that's the kind of string that the user was going to see in the event that they produced the wrong things. What we've got, the enable client-side script, we're going to change that to false, just for, if you like, to make it more accessible. I mean, typically, by making it true, it's all done in JavaScript, if you like, on the client, without actually going to the server to do any validation. In some ways that's good, because it makes it quicker, but in some ways it might not be as good, because if you're using much older browsers, you might not be able to use kind of JavaScript, etc., then you won't get such a happy result. So that's the reason for kind of setting that to 0. And the sort of doing all that is by doing it in the designer, the exact same things as what you've got in the tutorial written in code. So you've got there range validator, run at server, control to validate, score, enable transcript, error message, maximum value 100. Okay, so we've got all that in there. So we've sorted all that out. Now, okay. What we can now do is modify the script in the page to take account of whether something is valid or not. So what we do is, in the button submit, before anything happens, what we will do is we'll put a little if statement, another if statement, which is going to test if the page is valid, and if it is, we're going to do the calculation, and if it's not, we're going to return an error message. So let's put in our calculation. So if page dot is valid, okay, the paid object is the fundamental object we use in ASP.NET. So if page, which is the page we're currently on, is valid, then using exactly the same syntax, okay, press return, okay, and then we get an end if. Well, let's kind of now copy and paste all of the other code that we previously created for doing the calculations, working out whether somebody's failed or passed. Select that, cut it, and put it inside the if statement. Okay, so we've done that. We've put it inside the if statement, and in order to make all that, stop those int scores being squiggled under, put the int score at the top. So if page is valid, then do this. And we said, and we need to actually put the int score also above there. We need to have a value before it can be processed by the page is valid statement. Okay. No, I've done all that wrong. Sorry, that needs to go inside the if statement. No, let's put it there. Sorry, you got that confused. So that's gone inside the if statement. So if the page is valid, then declare the int score variable, find out its score by looking in the text field, and check, what you need to be writing back. And then, but we also need to count in what happens if the page is not valid. So there we put in an else here. Okay, else, and then in the case that the page validation has indeed failed, we can put in result.text equals quote quote end if. Okay, and let's see how that does indeed fare. Let's kind of press the play button, okay, and run it. It's going to appear in the browser, and so if I now try to type in Gordon Brown, and I submit Gordon Brown, you get a beautiful little red error message. The value must be 0 and 100. If I now put in 77, that says it'll say pass on as level. If I put in 103, that will say the score must be 100 and 29. Submit. Okay, that says it's fail. So that's all working there. So as you see what I did there, I put in the another if statement, which first of all checked if the page is valid. If the page was valid, then work out if the score. So we're getting a nested if inside an if. So if the page is valid first, if the score is greater than 35, then do other things. Okay. So now that is essentially chapter 5 done. Okay, but this time now it might be worth you thinking about combining some of the things we've already done. Okay, I mean, I'll just for example, you've seen how to use style sheets, okay, etc. Why not try doing something like changing the background color of a page depending on if something is true or not. If it's after 4 o'clock, make the background color different from if it's say 6 o'clock. Do some try to kind of put together some of the things we've done. For example, if statements and the kind of text boxes, things like that. Put them all together. See if you can make something new from it.